Welcome back for your penultimate helping of oysters, clams, and cockles presented by Bolin Media. I am Ross Bolin here with Barrett Dudley, ready to digest and discuss episode 7 of House of the Dragon season 2, titled The Red Sowing. Good morrow, Barrett. How are we feeling about our penultimate episode?
Oh, the penultimate episode was great. I yearn for nothing more, Ross.
Did it deliver for you fully?
Than one more episode. Although that's not true, because really I yearn for 3 more episodes.
For endless episodes.
Yeah. I yearn for them. But this episode, it was a slapper. And I'm just going to go right ahead and say what everybody is already thinking. And yes. If you've been wondering, the answer to the question is yes, Rhaenyra is Brat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
100%, yeah.
Lakiri Barrett.
Yeah, I have to get it. We gotta throw that down as the trend is being beaten into the ground and quickly dying. But
gotta get in on it now.
Yeah, right now.
Before it's an all the way dead horse.
All the way dead. Right, that's right. Yeah.
Rhaenyra Brat. Not a single scene this week with Kristen Cole. Celebrate good times.
Oh, that's not who I thought you were going to note there were no scenes with.
Well, Alice Rivers was also absent from this episode. But we don't need to talk about that this week, Barrett. We're staying positive here.
Okay, all right.
We're staying positive. No Kristen Cole. Yeah, that was, once again, fantastic television.
Damn, maybe that's why this episode hit so hard, is because we didn't have to deal with that little bitch-ass Kristen Cole.
Exactly, dude. No, this was riveting from front to back. Multiple breathtaking moments. Unforgettable ending. Great vibes at the end.
Yeah.
And to the haters, I ask, are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? I freaking loved it. Some cool Clam Fam news up top. Cassidy Cook, a longtime listener and supporter of our show since we started all the way back in 2016, and her synchronized diving partner, Sarah Bacon, became the first American athletes to medal at the 2024 Olympic Games by winning silver at the 3-meter synchronized springboard event on Saturday. We are cooking bacon, baby. # second breakfast. Truly glorious. Well done. We appreciate all of you in the Clam Fam very much for being here, for riding with us all season long, and for supporting our show. We can only keep doing what we're doing because of you. If you feel we've enhanced your House of the Dragon viewing experience this season, we'd ask that you support our show by joining us on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles for at least the last 2 weeks of the season. Every week, in addition to our public sponsor-based podcast, Barrett and I record and release an ad-free podcast further digesting and dissecting the latest episode of House of the Dragon, driven by hotline calls from our listeners exclusively on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles. There are now over 2,000 members of the Clam Fam and Mollusk Militia on Patreon enjoying our ad-free bonus episodes every week and supporting our show, Barrett.
That's
you
right.
have to love it.
And that's great. And one more message to all those people. And I know some people just they just stick their fingers in their ears and they go la 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 like that when we say things like this.
Yeah.
But this show, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, it continues on to other shows.
It does.
When we are not based in Westeros. I know that may come as a shock to you, but yes, we do indeed go all year round. We cover we attempt to cover every show that hits the zeitgeist. Shogun earlier this year was a big one for us.
Had a great time with Shogun.
Looking forward to later this year, we know that we have a new season of Silo coming in November.
And we did Silo season 1.
Who Built the Silo? # Who Built the Silo. The Dune Prophecy show comes out in November. That one looks good. I know we're going to try to kick out at least one episode covering the Bear pretty quickly after Hot D is said and done.
Yeah, we were talking about doing a Presumed Innocent podcast as well. I don't know if that's going to be relevant enough anymore.
Right,
I feel like it's kind of come and gone. Yeah. Although that was a solid show on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, very solid show. Very very buzzy for my guy Jake G. But yeah, so stick around. The Patreon continues. The show goes on. I promise you we'll cover something that you're watching. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I do forget to mention that sometimes. For everybody that's just here treating us like solely a House of the Dragon podcast, we're covering great TV and sometimes movies throughout the course of the calendar year.
That's right.
And have been for years. And we have a ton of content on Patreon as a result. So
8 years.
If
8
you're
years.
like,
we're going on we're getting close to a decade of this podcast.
we really are. We're doing it.
Yeah.
2016 was our first episode. So also a reminder, right now we are offering a 7-day free trial on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles. So if you need a little push to get over the edge, you can subscribe for free for 7 days and check out the 6 ad-free bonus episodes we have already released on this season of House of the Dragon. Then stick around to support the show and enjoy the ad-free deep dive hotline call podcasts for this penultimate episode later in the week, and then of course for the finale next week as well. That's patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles. And like I said, there's just a ridiculous amount of ad-free content there already for you to enjoy, which you can see by clicking on the collections tab of our page. Literally over 100 hours. Probably more than like 300 hours, because I think we did like 100 hours on The Sopranos alone.
Right. It's true, yeah.
Hundreds of hours of ad-free episodes of OCC that you have never heard before. If you've never been on Patreon, get in there today and become an official member of the Clam Fam or Mollusk Militia. And finally, our show is available on all the major podcast platforms, as well as in full video on youtube.com/@oystersclamscockles. Please subscribe, rate, and review if you like what we do. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment when one comes to you as you watch today. Please and thank you. Follow Barrett on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram @BarrettDudley, and follow me, Ross, on both of those platforms as well, @WRBolin. Thank you very much. Follow our show. Just search Oysters, Clams, and Cockles on all the social mediums, TikTok, Instagram, X/Twitter. We're on all of them. All right, let's dive in. Episode 7 starts with a Western standoff on the beach between Rhaenyra with Syrax and Double D Adam with Sea Smoke. I did find myself asking, like, how they got into this little situation. Like, did Rhaenyra fly by Adam in the sky with her dragon siren on, saying, "Pull over!" And he was like, "No, it's a cardigan. Thanks for noticing."
Yeah.
I just wish they'd shown that.
Yeah, that would have been good to see.
Anyway, Double D Adam seems like a genuinely good dude, this guy. We hadn't got to spend a ton of time with him yet, outside of him being like, "Come on, Alan, step up and take advantage of our dad." You know?
Yeah.
But he just wants to learn the ways of the Dragon Riders and serve his queen. He bends knee pretty much immediately here.
Yeah.
No conflict. It was great. And Rhaenyra is like, "Well then, huzzah, that was easy."
He's a strapping young lad.
He is.
You know?
He is.
You know, he's just ready to bend knee.
And he's an athlete, this guy, because we saw him on the run last week.
That's right.
This dude can move.
Yeah.
Adam makes it abundantly clear to Rhaenyra that he got chose. This was not him going and seeking out a dragon. It was not his idea to become a rider.
Right.
The dragon sought him out. And he also does not tell Rhaenyra who his father is. So he's savvy enough, I think, to protect Corlys here. Because for whatever reason, Corlys, I guess he's been through enough, the old man.
Yeah.
Doesn't need his honor damaged by revealing the bastard situation. Although everybody...
I also think, she's already kind of accusing him of like, "Oh, you bend so quickly for somebody that elevated so fast," or something like that.
Right.
So I don't think he wants to also throw in the "Do you know who my dad is?" type of thing.
That's a good point.
Like you think I'm just a lowborn, but I'm kind of, I'm middle because my dad is actually your hand.
It is. This is a very bastard-centric episode.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
Both shows. Game of Thrones.
All about the bastards.
They are.
Yeah.
So many bastards. Battles of bastards, armies of bastards. George R.R. Martin loves him a bastard, you know?
They're the ones that they're the engine of the ship, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They keep all this stuff going.
Sure.
We're going to get to more of that later, high versus low. You know?
A lot of it.
That boy Jace not looking so nice all of a sudden.
No, he's not. Double D Adam's full name, by the way, is Adam of Hull.
Right.
Which is how book readers have known him this whole time.
Yeah.
That's how we finally get introduced to him this week.
All these places have one last name for bastards. If you're born in the North, you're a Snow. If you're born in the Riverlands, you're a Rivers. If you're born in Driftmark, you're of Hull. You're of Hull.
Which I think is
it's a ship. It's the name of a
part of a ship.
Part of a ship.
Is it the back of the ship?
No, I think it's
the bow. There's the hull.
No, it's bow and stern. The hull is like I think it's like the exterior. It's the ballast. It's like the giant piece. The exterior, it floats.
Yeah.
I think.
Shipbuilding expert. Barrett Dudley.
I'm like 75% on that. So
I like your confidence.
Yeah.
I like it. Rhaenyra's like, so you think you can ride this thing back to Dragonstone? Double D Adam says,
swing the jib.
I can try. Swing the jib. But yeah, overall, a very fun opening scene with Cyrax and Sea Smoke sizing each other up when they start the slow walk toward each other. This was so tight.
Them just like yelling at each other for like a solid 90 seconds before Rhaenyra or Adam says anything. It was awesome.
So tense.
This episode with all the dragons started feeling extremely Jurassic Parky to me as well.
Yeah,
but in a good way.
That's good because I got a Jurassic Park reference later on.
Yeah, let me just hear these beasts roar. You know, let them talk, let them scream a little.
Yeah,
I'm into it because these sounds got like very specific, and
It's like they're having a conversation.
Yes, and I'm very in tune with the way that these types of Paleolithic beasts sound because we have friends that pride themselves on being able to distinguish the different velociraptor noises from all three of the original Jurassic Park trilogy series.
Yeah.
So I'm listening, you know?
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's visceral.
It's visceral. It is.
Yeah, you feel it down in your plums.
A lot like queso dripping down your chin.
Exactly. Back on Dragonstone, Rhaenyra's small council once again meets in her absence, much to the dismay of Dat Boy Jace the Face. And they're informed that the queen is unharmed and has brought Sea Smoke and his rider back to Dragonstone. Also, the random rider, they're informed, is a commoner, a shipwright apparently in Lord Corliss's employ. What a coincidence. And Corliss is like, there's nothing strange about that at all. He really just slowly backs away. The old white dude on the council who got the shit slapped out of him last week is like, the lowborn cannot go around seizing dragons. Has the thief been secured? But the master informs him that, Maester informs him that Rhaenyra actually wants the commoner trained up on dragon riding and High Valyrian. And the old whites are scoffing like, my God, what have we become? Back in her chambers with Mysaria, Rhaenyra is trying to make some sense of Double D Adam and what has just occurred, and she becomes sure that he must have Targaryen blood in him somewhere. So now she's very quickly convinced that her original suspicions about traces of Targaryen blood making people eligible to ride dragons were in fact correct, R.I.P. Sir Stefan, and suddenly Dragon Rider tryouts are back on, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Which I was like, wait, what? I mean, I get it. She's just stoked she found one.
Yeah.
She's like, well, if there's one,
there are more.
There's got to be more, right? And she wants to go back to the scrolls and the histories and the books and start searching the family tree again.
Right, and she's looking, you know, even though we got a lowborn rider claiming this first available dragon, she's immediately going back to the highborn houses and the on-book history. You know, she's getting on her little wall, ancestry.wall there. Trying to hunt down people that are part of these big noble houses, but Mysaria
has other
ideas, yes.
Yeah, she's like, look, I worked in a pleasure house in King's Landing, and your people have been popping out bastards like hotcakes for generations. Let's throw some small folk at the wall and see who sticks.
Yes.
Rhaenyra is hesitant and a bit classist at first, but Mysaria explains to her that her feelings are silly, and she basically needs to adapt or die. And Rhaenyra is like, heck it, let's build an army of bastards.
Yeah, points out that, all these highborn people are so noble and honorable, right? Like your other family over there that's usurping your throne and trying to kill you and all of your kin.
Over in King's Landing? Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's a great point.
Meanwhile, this dude, bends knee immediately.
Yes.
You know?
Her point about, she's like, Rhaenyra's argument is that, well, all these highborn houses, we act on an honor code. It keeps people in check. Everybody follows the same rules.
Right.
And Mysaria is like, is that actually true?
Yeah. Seems that the opposite is more true.
Yeah. So kind of breaks down her defense there very quickly.
But yes, this plan that they enact, this is kind of what we had 2 episodes ago when we were speculating on how this would go. This is exactly what we said. She's going to send out for all of these bastards to come to this open tryout.
Yeah, it's like they just happen to have Sir Stefan right there. So they were like, well, let's give this dude a shot first.
And he has a name. He's got the pedigree. Like, this would be a perfect fit if it can make it happen. But, as we see, it's
didn't work out that way, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't work out for most that way. This is,
It's a real crapshoot.
Yeah, real crapshoot. Yeah. A lot of misses before you make one.
So, also over on Dragonstone, because Double the Atom is now there, Corlys goes to see his bastard son, who promptly quits his job as a shipwright. And that's just another little, like, this dude, Adam, even though he has been spurned by his father for pretty much his whole life, it seems, he still has an incredible amount of respect for him. And, like, he's not becoming some cocky douche because he hit a come up here. He even has the wherewithal to be like, hey, so I got to quit my job as a shipwright. I don't think I can do that anymore.
Yeah.
Got this other thing going. But very respectful the way he lays that out for Corlys, who tells his bastard son, well done for becoming a writer.
Yes.
Just hits him with 2 little words of approval there. It's good to see. That's a start. It's a step in the right direction for these two and potentially having a relationship one day.
Thawing the ice.
Yeah. Dat boy Jace goes to see his mom and is like, what the hell, Mom? It's one thing to have him on the small council. It's another to let them ride dragons. Jace the racist?
More like I knew that rhymes better, but really more of a classist, very, very elitist words coming out of his mouth here.
Yeah.
Now look, I get.
He makes good points, though.
I get some of what he's saying.
Selfish points, but
yes.
But yeah, like.
But the realm at large knows that this dude is technically a bastard.
Yes.
Like we're all looking the other way, and we're all just like agreeing that he's not. But if suddenly a bunch of blonde-haired folks are also riding dragons, then it kind of takes the shine off the facade a little bit, right?
Not kind of. Oh, I'd say all the way.
Yeah,
like this is a big problem for Jace if his only focus is status and his claim.
Yeah. This is
not good. So
but running around calling these people mongrels and whatnot is a tough look.
Bad look. Bad vibes from Jace. So he explains to his mom that because he has dark hair and he is known as a strong bastard, that if they potentially stick silver-haired bastards on dragons, it basically means he's not special anymore.
Right.
And his claim becomes seemingly illegitimate if they do Dragon Rider Tryouts 2.0.
Yeah, the fact that he has a dragon, that he was able to claim one, helps to legitimize his standing.
That was his thing.
That was his thing. Yeah.
And then in his mind, I think it was the only reason people respect him.
Right.
So
two things here. One, I also don't know what that boy thinks is the alternative here, right? And that's kind of what Rhaenyra says to him. Like, this is what the gods have given me. Like, what do you want me to do here?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna die and lose if we don't do this, probably.
Right.
And then my second is more just kind of theorizing, reading the tea leaves. But I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that boy Jace never sees the throne.
Oh yeah, I think. Also, this was his idea. Like 2 weeks ago.
It was his idea.
This was his idea. And now that it's working a little differently than he originally saw it working out, he's upset. Mostly because of the classist stuff. And the fact that I guess he hadn't really considered that. Like, if they find a highborn guy, it won't really matter. Everybody will still see me the same. But if it's just rando peasants, now who am I? So he's got some soul searching to do.
Who am I? I guess he has a lot to ponder.
He has a lot to ponder. Rhaenyra's like, well, that sucks, dude, but I have to do this. Sorry for your little feelings. And the whole situation, I just randomly, as I was watching it on an edible, occurred to me is also kind of a good analogy for like immigrants. We don't have to get into the depths of why, but just struck me.
Well, also very, and just kind of class war in general,
sure.
Right? Like the haves kind of feel this need to keep the having.
Preserve their shit,
and by not allowing the have-nots to have any.
Right. We've seen a ton of this throughout the course of human history and through literature and TV and movies as well. Most definitely. In King's Landing, Alicent is getting sewn up by the Maester after being attacked by an angry mob in episode 6, and she seems pretty depressed. Like, just week after week, as we know, has been a real beatdown for her, and it's getting to her. She tells her personal Kingsguard that she's going to the Kingswood, and she doesn't want anyone else going with them except for him. Very ominous vibes. Once in the Kingswood, she tells her personal Kingsguard that she may never return to King's Landing because he's like, hey, so you think we could be getting back soon?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know if we're ever going back. And then she's going to bed at like 5 p.m. It's still
light
broad
outside,
daylight. She's like, I'm hitting the sack, dude. Stand guard. So the next day, she goes for a swim to clear her head, floats on her back a while, and like contemplates where to go from here.
Yeah.
For a moment there, I was pretty concerned she was going to drown herself. I thought it was like a suicide walk into the lake thing.
Well, and when they do the little, the hairs floating along, you're like kind of waiting to see if she's face down or face up kind of thing.
Yeah. I would have been very bummed if she went out here and did, in fact, take her own life because I need Allison to stick around for when the shit really hits the fan because she needs to see this thing all the way through. See what she hath wrought.
I think she's going to see what she hath wrought.
I think so, too.
I think this walk around the Kingswood is going to send her back to King's Landing and to the Red Keep with newfound purpose.
I hope so.
She's going to try again. I think to gain a little bit of that Costanza hand.
Just one more time.
Yeah.
Got to get back in there.
Got to get back in there.
I feel like she probably aligns with Aegon and Larys.
Okay.
Crispy King Aegon and Larys. Because I don't think she has a real route back into power or hand of any kind with Aemond.
I was questioning the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. Like, what if she gets in there and helps to off Aegon?
Oh. That's her way of getting in Aemond's good graces, like smothering his brother with a pillow?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope not. That would be truly sick.
I could see her because, like, this is what we talked about last week. I just, the way I framed it is just like, we need to be watching Allison because something is going on there.
Yeah.
And she's on that precipice. She's on the fence. And I'm waiting for her to kind of like fall one way or the other. And I feel like those two options are like either fleeing, turning, and like giving this life up, or completely going other side, or maybe it's even just like going back to Hightower and just like hiding out, right?
Oh, back to Old Town?
Yeah, back in Old Town.
Yeah,
back on the Old Town Road, or recommitting and just like going full dark side.
Which she hasn't really done yet
with Team Green.
She's always kind of stayed in the middle gray area. It would be interesting to see Allison
counseling restraint, that type of thing.
Yeah. Larys and the dude on the Green Council, who nobody cares what his name is, talk, and we find out that Crispy King Aegon's boys in the Kingsguard, all his drinking buddies, are being sent to the wall due to the Queen and Dowager Queen almost being killed by an angry mob. Tough break, lads.
Yeah.
Oof. Rough.
Yes.
The ones that survived, which doesn't look like it's that many of them. It's like two or three guys. Yeah. They're off to take the black.
I think I heard Ryan Condal call that one dude Iron Rod after the episode.
Really?
The guy that has the secret that offers Larys the Whisper.
Oh, okay. So he has a name. I'm just going to continue to refer to him as Rando Douche.
Okay.
Because I just don't like his face.
I'm pretty sure we've never heard anybody call him Iron Rod or whatever it was that
yeah, I feel like Condal,
the con man said.
He randomly throws in like book reference stuff in after the episode shit. Yeah. But okay. Noted.
Yeah.
And discarded. Anyway, the random small council douche tells Larys about Seasmoke having a rider, which he heard from his father's, sister's, nephew's, fisherman's, maid's, hairdresser's cousin. Mm-hmm. And Larys is like, hey, maybe we don't tell anyone about this. Also, they don't know who's riding the dragon. The rando suggests it's probably Lady Lena.
Right.
Because she's always wanted one, right? So why do you think they decided not to tell Aemond? Between Larys and Rando.
I think the source certainly comes into play here. The fact that this is such a,
obscure,
it's been
unverifiable.
Yeah, and it's obviously gone through the telephone, right, a million different times, and so who knows what this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have a great answer for why they don't at least maybe offer the suggestion that it's a possibility, right?
Yeah, I think it's multifaceted.
What's the downside of telling Aemond?
They don't want to piss him off, one. They don't really like him as a ruler, I don't think. We know Larys doesn't.
Right.
Two.
True.
Giving Aemond more information is just further empowering him. To your point, the information not exactly being ironclad and verifiable presents an issue because what if they tell him and then they're wrong?
Right,
So
right, okay.
I think they just decide, like, you know what? Let's just keep this one to ourselves.
Yeah, I
Too
think-
risky for us.
Yes. I think that's a good overall point. Is that there are just a number of potential downsides.
Yeah. Why
And,
screw
and
with
given the source, let's just not mention this one right now.
it? Right. Crispy King Aegon is now in the physical therapy stage of his recovery and seems to be coming along quite nicely, although he now looks like an elderly man due to the burns on his face and scalp and his whole hair situation.
He's also acting like an elderly man.
Yeah, a little bit.
I was more like, okay, wait, did you just age 60 years or are you very badly burnt but still alive?
I think it's also the multiple broken bones. And even they're doing like the walking thing, you know, that you
Right.
do in physical
Yes,
therapy, like
yes.
where the physical therapist is kind of on your side, holding you, walking you along.
Yeah.
And you hear like a snap. And I was like, did his leg just break again?
No, I was thinking like skin stretching. Or
Yeah,
something.
like what
I
was
don't
that?
know.
Anyway, it was a gross noise.
Yeah.
And overall, it just seems like he's in a lot of pain still. But you have to remember, he fell quite a long ways. It wasn't just the fact that he was literally lit on fire.
Yeah,
It was also that he fell miles.
Right,
Like
right.
20,000 feet or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
From
Well, it's a big fall. Big fall.
yeah, so his body is still not feeling great. Like there's a lot of internal damage there. His Master of Whispers, Lord Larys, comes in and said, you have to remember, he named Larys his Master of Whispers, comes in and says, listen, man, we're all really proud of your progress. You're killing it. But we need you to go harder, progress faster. Basically tells the Maester, like, because the Maester's like, he needs to rest. Larys is like, listen to me, friend. He's not going to get to rest for a really long time.
Yeah.
Because of the situation with his psycho eye patch wearing brother on the throne.
Right.
Get him up, get him working. Got to go as hard as you possibly can at physical therapy. And anybody who's ever gone through a significant injury and had to do physical therapy will tell you it's grueling. It sucks. It's one of those things about like
Sounds awful.
Like when a professional athlete gets injured, all of us as, you know, ignorant spectators are like, oh, it must be nice to still get paid out your full contract and not contribute to the fucking team I'm rooting for constantly. But the truth of the matter is those dudes are having to wake up every single day and go do awful physical therapy
For
that,
hours,
that
yeah.
sucks. And that becomes their job. Is the recovery.
Yeah.
And it's awful. Like any interview you watch with a pro athlete who's had to go, like pitchers after Tommy John surgery is probably the best example I have off the top of my head. It's a terrible process to get back out there and be able to play baseball again after the fact. That's kind of what Crispy Aegon is going through at the moment. I really can't wait to see what happens with Aegon and his, you know, he's on the road to some sort of comeback here.
Right.
To what extent, we have no way of knowing. But I can't, this is one element of the story that's like slowly baking in the background. And I'm like, I cannot wait to see how this shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come to some type of conflict here. Like, there's no question about that. Now, one thing that we've never seen happen in Game of Thrones, I don't believe, is somebody abdicate.
Right?
You know?
Give up the throne?
Just, you know, actually say and follow through with, I don't want it. So could he just step down and let Aemond be king? Seems like he could.
I think it's, I don't think Larys is going to allow that to happen probably. It seems like Larys is kind of, but yeah, to answer your question, yes, I think he has that option.
Okay.
I would be shocked if he's going to go through all this shit
Yeah.
just to say like, yeah, you can keep it, brother. But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? The other option is telling his brother, hey, I'm back. Thanks. Get up. Give me my seat.
Which I don't see happening.
And if you're Aegon, you have to weigh that, right?
Yeah.
He knows, based on his conversations with Aemond in his sickbed here, that that's probably not going to go well if he just pops back in one day and kicks Aemond to the curb.
Right.
So, a lot of questions around what will happen with Aegon. At Harrenhal, the new Lord Tully rolls up with the River Lords to treat with Daemon. Daemon congratulates Lord Tully on his ascension to Lord Paramount of the Riverlands. Truly glorious. Well done. Daemon's like dry humor compliments over the course of this little situation here are fucking hilarious. Turns out Tully has grown some balls and is a feisty little lord now.
He's got some savvy to him.
Yeah.
You know, he's green, but he kind of knows what he's doing.
Really, I would say really knows what he's doing. Seems to be able to read the room, play this whole situation like a fiddle.
He's making moves.
He does tell Daemon that he is going to honor the oath of his grandfather and serve Queen Rhaenyra, and of course Daemon as well as king consort. But Lord Oscar Tully also says it might be a problem getting the rest of the River Lords to go along with Daemon because, well...
He's kind of a shithead.
And they hate him. They hate him. So Daemon goes to speak with the River Lords and asks that they put all their past unpleasantness behind them. There are several houses here. It's pretty good. It's like the Riverlands, as we've said. Complicated area of the map. But you got Blackwoods with Bracken prisoners included, plus at least a couple other few houses represented here at this gathering. Lord Tully makes it abundantly clear to both Daemon and everyone at this meeting that he does not like or respect Daemon, that he's basically doing this out of respect for his bloodline, his grandfather, and tradition, and that they've sworn this oath and they're going to fulfill it, right?
Yep.
Even though this dude is a douchebag. He just keeps ripping on Daemon. This was a tense scene for that reason, right? They keep giving you the shots of Daemon having to soak in what Lord Tully is saying.
Yeah, and there's definitely like an element here where Oscar knows that he can sass Daemon
in front of all these people.
Yeah, because Daemon has no leverage here.
He's wildly outnumbered.
Right. And so if he tries to pull some heroic type bullshit, like they're just going to kill this dude.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
And Daemon's having to accept that because you're watching it going, oh, he's about to snap and murder this little kid. Well, then the wheels start turning and you're realizing why he doesn't.
Yeah.
There's like 20 other people here,
right.
A lot of witnesses.
Who hate him.
His dragon is not right here with him.
Yeah.
And frankly, if he kills little Lord Oscar Tully, it's over for him in the Riverlands.
Yeah.
He's not going to raise an army of any kind, which at one point Oscar comes up to him and is like, do you want our armies or not, dude?
Right.
Like, let's make this happen. But Daemon ends up coming like as close as he can to apologizing for the way he has handled the Riverlands, saying he was probably too hasty in his approach, right? Which is good. I also think it's good to keep in mind, we have been watching this man have some kind of hallucinogenic dream trip for 6 episodes straight, right? He's not in the best headspace, and he's kind of just like trying to keep it together here, right? The rest of the houses that are present from the Riverlands, the River Lords, they want Willem Blackwood, Daemon's boy, who dishonorably slaughtered the Brackens in one way or another. They want him killed for what he did, right? Lord Tully is basically like, look, we'll serve you, but you're going to kill this dude to prove yourself deserving of our banners. You're going to dispense justice on Willem Blackwood if you want the rest of us to get on board. And Sir Simon says, oh, dear.
Sir Simon has like a couple of little, like, doesn't he do this twice? Where he's like, maybe one is just kind of a Mugatu-esque shudder. But
yes.
but then, yes. Or Todd.
He can't believe this drama that's unfolding before him. He's like an audience avatar. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So Daemon steps up,
dear.
draws his sword, and executes Willem Blackwood, who notably swore himself to Daemon and served him faithfully. And it felt like this was an interesting scene to me because it felt like the show's message was like, there's no turning back now. Daemon is like, he's gone all the way. He's kind of like a bad guy, right? Like, or he's willing to do bad guy stuff to get it done. I already felt that way about him this whole time, though. So this wasn't like a huge breaking point for me necessarily.
I had a different read because these guys, because the River Lords and little Oscar is like making this move to essentially get him to admit fault and finish this apology, basically, by having to kill the dude that he made go do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a little bit of like tasting his own medicine, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know?
Power play by the River Lords and Lord Tully, for sure.
Yeah, they're punishing him.
Yes.
So
I definitely felt that, yeah.
And that's why I also think that the camera quickly cuts from Bracken, who? Blackwood.
Willem Blackwood.
So we're not watching him when he gets beheaded. It's all on Daemon, and then we linger on that Daemon face after he has to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's way more of for me. It was like and then with the scene that follows, it's like, is all of this worth it to you? Are all these games that you're playing, is all this deceit, all this trickery, all this like, kind of unfair gameplay that you're engaging in? Like, is this feeling good to you? Is this what you want? Like, are these the ends that you're willing to go to for this crown, which is a burden in the first place? Like,
That's a great point.
So,
I think that's a good assessment of what unfolded here.
It didn't make me swing further to like light or dark for Damon. It was just like this. It was, we're getting close to the end of this kind of come to Jesus thing that Damon is experiencing at Harrenhal. And, you know, hopefully we kind of get his answer next week.
I'd be shocked if we don't, just for the record.
About what he has learned here.
There is no way we can roll into season 3 of this show with Damon still just on his trip in Harrenhal.
Yeah,
it cannot happen, so I guarantee we get the result next week. And yeah, so later Damon continues tripping balls and has like another dream or vision of his late brother King Viserys with his rotting face this time, which apparently was actually Paddy Considine's idea, which is very cool. Viserys is talking about how he never wanted the crown. Vizzy T explains how the crown destroys you, crushes whoever wears it, right? It's the classic heavy lies the crown thing, but with this incredible representation of like...
Right. Yeah, the decay of
physically destroyed this man.
Yeah.
And then he ends the conversation by asking, do you still want it? Viserys asks Daemon. So yeah, 7 episodes in, Daemon is still mulling over whether or not he should take the Iron Throne for himself or serve his niece wife faithfully.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of annoying to see him go through the same sort of song and dance every week, but this was new stuff, though. I appreciated the Riverlords thing, and I liked this whole situation in Harrenhal this week.
The Riverlord stuff was good. This was, yeah, we're at least finally like moving this piece of the story along. I will say that now, obviously, we have one more, which we think will probably lead to some sort of Daemon decision making in the final episode. I will say, I am willing to bet that this whole plotline was required to keep Matt Smith on the show every single episode.
Yeah, I think we pretty much solved that last week on Patreon because we had that caller explain that in the book Fire and Blood, which this show is based on, all that is said is that Daemon is in the Riverlands for an extended period of time. There's no detail to what occurs there.
And you could easily see the storyline boiled into 3 episodes, basically, with a little bit more spent on each time. Like, he gets there, he meets Alice Rivers, he's having hallucinations, he's questioning what to do. He conspires with the Blackwoods to, like, bring treachery to the Brackens and then has to pay for it to actually get the Riverlords. Like, those are the big points while he's making this decision. But we got to keep Matt Smith on the show. And so we stretch that out in these little tastes every episode. And, yeah, I mean, we'll I think we'll have more to say about it when we see after we see the finale. But I think that's what this was.
Agreed. On Driftmark, Corlys asks Alan with a Y to send a message to their mole in King's Landing to gather up all the Targaryen bastards and execute Rhaenyra and Mysaria's plan for Dragon Rider Tryouts 2.0. So Alan...
And execute Rhaenyra?
Execute Rhaenyra's plan.
Yes. Okay.
Rhaenyra and Mysaria's plan. So Alan's kind of being brought into the fold here. He also, Corlys tells Alan that his brother Adam is now a rider, confesses that he knew very little about their mother's heritage, which takes us back to like she could have been a Targaryen or Targaryen bastard or whatever, right? And Corlys asks Alan if he wants to come to Dragon Rider Tryouts 2.0. But Alan says, I am salt and sea and yearn for nothing else. Love Salt and Sea.
Love Salt and Sea.
Yeah, got another one here. But all in all, I think the scene is it's just kind of showing you Corlys getting... Now that Adam is in and he has a dragon, he's going and getting Alan and kind of bringing him further into the fold.
Yes.
Because he's present like pretty much the rest of the episode in the scenes on Dragonstone.
Yeah.
And King's Landing, which we'll get to. So at the Vale, Rhaena and Rhaenyra's youngest children and company head off for Pentos. They're leaving the Vale and saying goodbye to Lady Jane Eyre's Lord of the Rings looking ass in this episode for some reason. What was that about? I know she just looks like an elf.
These women in the Vale, man, wild ass women, but she kind of looks hot here.
Yeah. I just want to know. Well, crazy can be very hot, Barrett. I just want to know if she's gonna matter longer term because they just like give you this lingering shot of Jane Eyre, like watching them leave,
doing the weird Aaron thing.
Where you're like, is she about to do evil shit?
Right.
And then she like turns and walks slowly back.
No, I don't think we're ever gonna see her again.
It's a curious situation with that character. So they're on the way out. They're in the caravan, right? Rhaena is walking along behind it. And then she breaks away from the rest of the pack and goes presumably looking for the large dragon that we learned about in episode 6 that is in fact out here. Sadly, we do not get to see her claim it this week.
No.
I guess they figured they had enough dragon claiming going on in this episode.
We had a lot of dragon claiming this episode, yeah.
So like, we'll save Rhaena for next week.
Yeah.
Not sure if we'll even get another scene where she's like doing the whole thing, getting the. I think we might just see her like pull up to Dragonstone on this freaking dragon.
Yeah.
And Rhaenyra's gonna be like, "Who the hell is watching my kids? You were the babysitter."
Yeah.
Anyway, back in King's Landing, Rhaenyra and Mysaria's mole gathers their mole that they sent over to King's Landing. Gathers all the Targaryen bastards and has them shipped off to Dragonstone for Dragon Rider Tryouts 2.0. Ulf is in the pub because Ulf is an alcoholic. And he finds out about the tryouts, and his boys are like, dude, you have to go. Like, don't be a pussy. This is your chance. Ulf, you have to go.
This is your chance.
You've been talking this up for years.
You can fulfill your destiny, your true-born destiny. Yeah.
They even give him, like, that one guy is like, you've been getting people in this pub to buy you drinks for the last decade.
Yeah.
Are you telling me you ripped all of them off? You're not even gonna go give it a shot.
I love that he does the I could have made the pros if I didn't have this dang old knee injury.
It's lingering high school football injury.
I was right. I would have had a D1 scholarship. It got pulled when I tore my ACL senior year.
Yep. ACL, MCL.
It
just kind of took me out.
It was bad, and I couldn't recover.
But if not for that,
the procedures weren't the same back then.
I was the next JJ Watt.
Yeah.
If not for that.
That
was such a great line. I fucking burst out laughing. Ulf, though, he's scared to find out if what he's been saying all these years about being a Targaryen bastard is in fact true. And that's some real shit.
I mean, Ulf and Hugh have very different experiences with their Targaryen bastardom.
Yes.
Right? Like, Ulf is just using this to, like, hang out with the fellas and drink pints.
Talk some shit, maybe pick up some girls, get some free drinks.
Yes, yeah. Hugh, his daughter died.
Yeah, dude.
So...
Slightly different reason for going.
Ulf, like, kind of doesn't want to leave this kind of cush, just, surf bum life that he's been living.
He's
in
kind
King's
of a vagabond looking dude.
Yeah.
How old do you think Ulf is supposed to be? I was like
45.
That was my guess.
He's a bachelor all the way, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Hugh's got this whole family he needs to worry about that's slightly smaller now because his daughter died. Sad. Very unfair. But Ulf is just this dude who hangs in the pub all day, every day with the lads, drinking pints.
Yeah.
And yes, I did like that. Sort of the different wrinkles for both men, right?
So he kind of has this, he's not sure that he actually wants to go do this.
Like, fuck, dude, I was really just wanted to get drunk in here and hang with you guys.
Like, I've got nothing to live for.
Right.
I have to go do something big,
Yeah, so...
claim my destiny.
Hugh also finds out about tryouts. His wife is like, Hugh, absolutely not. This is insane.
Yeah.
But Hugh explains he never knew his father, but he did know his mother, and he kept it from his wife that his mom was a Targaryen bastardess. This took me a minute to unfold, and I had to rewatch the scene.
We paused, and Laura and I talked it out for 5 minutes.
Just to make sure.
Sussing out the family tree where this female bastard would, like, align.
Right, well, the line that Hugh delivers where he says, she used to tell me I was no different than her brother's boys, Viserys and Daemon.
Her brother's boy, yes.
That's where it got confusing, and I was like, wait. So who?
Her brother is the dad of Viserys and Daemon.
Yes, and
she's
his mother,
bastard daughter.
Yes,
of their dad.
Right.
What was that guy's name? Do we know?
Cannot recall.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is his mom was a whore working in a pleasure house with silver hair, she could charge extra because of the silver hair thing. She was a Targaryen bastard. So
he's a cousin of Daemon and Viserys.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cousin.
Yeah.
To Viserys and Daemon. Which also answers, I think, the questions about like how old Hugh and Ulf are supposed to be thereabouts, right?
40,
like
late 30s.
Middle-aged, upper middle-aged, over-the-hill type dudes. Yeah. They're not young men like Double D Adam.
Right.
Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
We also find out that sadly Hugh and his wife lost their sick daughter who we had seen for a couple episodes. And Hugh is basically like claiming a dragon would change our family's lives. We would never want for anything ever again. Plus, they'd make Mrs. Hugh a lady.
They'd make you a lady.
And Mrs. Hugh, however, says she does not want to be a lady or a widow, for that matter. But Hugh's response is, I have to do something. Yes. So he travels with the bastard army who sneaks out of King's Landing. This is a lot of people that they smuggle out of the city, by the way.
Yeah, this is a lot of people.
Like 40 people.
Somebody would have seen this.
The security there is dog shit. Even after the literal heir to the Iron Throne, Jaehaerys' head got sawed off by 2 random dickheads.
Yeah, and then they let 35 bastards just leave the city?
Wandering out, getting in a fucking bunch of different boats they've got pulled out to the shore there.
Yeah,
This is the week after Rhaenyra had shipped a bunch of food over to the same shore.
Yeah.
They got to get eyes on this shore. Set up one security camera.
Yeah,
Dear God.
I feel like they try to explain this by being like, get your best fit fishermen on this. You know, the ones we can trust.
Yeah, I want good men.
I want good men.
Don't hire shitty guys.
Yeah.
We need good men on this to make sure it goes swimmingly.
I had the same thought. Like, you're like watching all of these people pour out onto the beach and got in these boats, and you're like, is nobody seeing this? Nobody's watching. Okay, all right.
Just a mass immigration. Oh yeah, that was good stuff. Do you want to sound like a goofy, ignorant doofus like Aegon when attempting to speak a second language? Of course you don't. The best way to learn a language, immersion, living where the language is spoken and using it every day. But if that's not in the cards, you can still learn a language the second best way, and that's with today's sponsor, Babbel. Be a better you with Babbel, the science-backed language learning app that actually works and will ensure you never sound as goofy as Massaria when you speak. Don't pay hundreds of dollars for private tutors or waste hours on apps that don't really help you speak the language. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are handcrafted by over 200 language experts to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Babbel is designed by real people for real conversations. Babbel's tips and tools are approachable, accessible, rooted in real-life situations, and delivered with conversation-based teaching so you're ready to practice what you've learned in the real world. Babbel's courses are incredibly convenient. I've used them to try and regain my grasp on Espanol, and they make it super easy to learn how to do basic stuff like order food or ask for directions or speak to merchants without having to consult language apps while out and about or on vacation or just wherever you are in a foreign land. Studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and others continue to prove Babbel is better. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. Babbel has over 16 million subscriptions sold, plus all of Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. Here is a special limited-time deal just for the Clam Fam. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/OCC. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/OCC, spelled BABBEL.com/OCC. Rules and restrictions may apply. So on Dragonstone, the Dragon Keepers find out that Rhaenyra is hosting Dragon Rider Tryouts 2.0, bastards only, and they rage quit. The head Dragon Keeper basically tells her she doesn't have enough respect for the sacred traditions of Dragon Lords. They can't just have anybody riding dragons, and the Dragon Keepers won't be party to this blasphemy. Different reasoning for their classism.
And I thought that this was both an interesting take and one that I fear will largely be ignored and glossed over in future episodes because it kind of needs to be. But what I took from this is they're like, yo, these are extremely special animals that are like the last remaining vestiges of old Valyria, and they should just be able to just hang out Dragonstone, fly around, do their thing, and you want to use them as weapons. Like, you want to force them into battle for your own ends and
for selfish reasons.
For selfish reasons.
Cost people lots of lives.
And with that also triggered in my mind what is not a spoiler, but I guess fast forward 15 seconds. But like, we know what happens to the dragons, right? If you've watched Game of Thrones, you know that there are no dragons at the beginning of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I don't think that counts as a spoiler. Okay. It's like the whole plot of season 1 of Game of Thrones. That Dany births the only 3 living dragons in the world, and that's like the main point of the show for the next 3 seasons before things develop.
So this using them this way, I think we kind of are supposed to understand, leads to bad things.
Yeah, dude, you're worried this scene and this whole idea will get glossed over. I think this is a further foreshadowing of the ominous things to come.
Okay.
That they are throwing out the rule book, doing away with tradition, not respecting the sanctity of the dragons and their whole thing, and just throwing people on there. It also really made me worry about, like, I was like, well, whoever comes out of this thing with dragons, which we now know Ulf and Hugh managed to do, I don't know that they're going to be around for long either.
Yeah, which we'll get to.
Yeah,
but no, I thought this was good and important, and you kind of like, obviously the final ending scene of the episode is so magnificent and impressive and makes you like pump your fist in the air. But at the same time, you also are supposed to remember that this might not be a great decision and is mostly being done for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, she has no other choice.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, she's telling Jace, what do you want me to do, bro?
Not the wrong reasons, but ones that maybe long-term have dire consequences.
Very short-sighted.
Yes.
Yeah. So Rhaenyra has to coach Dragon Rider Tryouts 2.0 herself. And great performance in this scene here, because you can just see this all of the emotion, the different things going through her face and going through her mind. So first she goes and speaks with the bastards, gives them like a kind of a pump-up speech, but also like gives, it's like once again the Dragon Rider Tryout like legal disclaimer as well.
How did you feel about her authenticity here?
I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I thought she's like she's made this decision.
Right. But she talks about how she wants this to bring peace, right? And that this is going to be better for everybody's lives because they'll be able to restore peace.
Oh, that part of it seemed like bullshit she cooked up.
Leaves out the part, right, that if you do claim a dragon, you might have to fight with it.
Right. I mean, okay, so
right?
this is what she tells him. Live or die, the life you knew ends here.
Yeah.
Right? That if a dragon accepts you, you will be transformed. And if a dragon doesn't accept you, well, you will be transformed in a completely different way into ash, right?
In a metaphysical way.
Yeah, and she tries to give them her reasoning for this risk. That with 2 more dragons added to their number, she believes she can end this war before it starts.
Without bloodshed, right?
End suffering.
Yeah.
And do it all without shedding any blood. God's willing. And it's nice how you can just throw that on the end there.
Okay, yeah.
God's willing. And it goes from a personal guarantee to a we'll see. It's like she consulted the Targaryen lawyers beforehand, and they were like, hey, perfect, just throw a God's willing in, and then we're covered.
Right.
Can't be sued after the fact. She also tells the bastards that Vermithor is the largest dragon in the world after Vhagar, and perhaps the most fierce. He's called the Bronze Fury, and they're going to see him right now.
Super sick.
So there's no time in between the speech.
No.
She's not like anybody who wants to leave. There's the door.
I did think she was going to give that one, right?
And we'd see a couple like trickle out.
Yeah.
Like,
now, I guess that they basically already like gave
they
you that
vetted them
shot
already, yeah.
And don't get on the boat if you don't want to come do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you come with us, you've made your decision. There's no turning back.
We are going to show you the dragon.
Right. Yeah. But all in all, to your point, was very curious trying to pick apart the pieces of her speech to the bastards, like which parts we thought she actually meant.
Yep.
Because her sales pitch to them is, look, if we get 2 of you on these dragons, they're going to call off the war. The other side will have no choice but to give way.
Yep.
Which we, as viewers, certainly don't agree with. We're not like, oh yeah, if they get 2 more dragons, Team Green is totally just going to give up.
We know. We feel that way because we're watching a TV show, though.
Yes.
Because you do, like...
We're getting all the other side. We're getting to see Team Green in action. We know how Aemond is a fucking nut.
But practically, I hear what Rhaenyra is saying. If they have Seasmoke and Syrax and Caraxes and now Vermithor and now Silverwing, and Baela's dragon... They got the numbers, man. This is over. This is done and dusted. This is done and dusted.
Up another one.
And if Rhaena picks up another one too,
it's like 7-2.
Yeah. So like you'd think that this is over, but we know that can't possibly.
I guess you're right.
Right? Like,
well, and just as referencing what we talked about already, like knowing where this goes, that Game of Thrones is a TV show that eventually takes place.
Yes. Yeah.
This war doesn't just stop here.
Yeah.
And also, what the hell would the next season be about, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's with that context easier for us to say.
Which is a bummer, by the way. You kind of just wish like, oh yeah, this would be sight. Just end it. Just end it.
Yeah. We did it.
Good guys win.
Yay. So they roll deep into the dragon hangar with like we said, like 35, 40 of these bastards. And Rhaenyra calls up Vermithor without even having to sing a song, I would note. She's just very good with the dragons. They really listen to her.
They sense it.
She's the queen. Vermithor answers her call and is in fact quite large. This scene is one of the breathtaking ones when he rises up behind her. I thought this is probably just a good spot to say it. The dragon visuals in this episode overall were probably the most badass we've ever gotten.
They were pretty sick.
All the different scenes considered. Rhaenyra tells Vermithor to Lekiri, calm down. And he eventually bends neck to her. She pets his nose. Vermithor closes his eyes and she closes her eyes, and they have this moment of
it was a mind meld
connection. Yes,
totally.
A melding of minds.
Yeah.
With meat and mead. And then she turns to the contestants and she's like, "Who among you will be first?" And some poor bastard with a wonky face steps up, and Rhaenyra is like, "Huzzah! Well, I've done all I can for you. Best of luck. I'm going to my box seats."
Yeah.
And she just bounces in me. I was like, "Oh my God!" And I get it. Like, again, this is a moment in the episode where I was like, "God, this is good TV." Because what else is she supposed to say? Mm-hmm. She can't spend all day out here individually training all 35, 40 people. Like, all right, here's how you want to approach them. Here's what you want to say. She says the dragon basically has to decide.
Choose. Yeah, and that's that. Yeah, I think this moment where she's like, "Okay, well, see, big gulp, son, guys. Well, see you later."
Yeah,
is very colored by the fact that she knows how she has Adam's story. Like, Seasmoke just sought this dude out,
picked him, made it
basically.
happen.
He did not have to steal the dragon. Basically, he didn't have to claim it. Really.
Didn't have to sing to it. Didn't have to do any song and dance, if you will.
It's this mutual decision in that the dragon picks, but obviously you have to have something inside of you. You have to
be worthy somehow.
And be worthy, right? So in that way, she's just like, yeah, figure it out.
She also, I think, knows deep down this is gonna be a bloodbath.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. This is which is the dark part of this, right?
Like, she's presented Vermithor with a human charcuterie board.
This is, I think they used this word maybe once or twice in the episode, maybe not even this one, but maybe in previous ones. But the title of the episode is The Red Sowing.
Right.
And these are the seeds, the Targaryen seeds, the seeds that they are sowing. Mm-hmm. So
you reap what you sow.
You do reap what you sow. This is Condal on the inside of the episode calls it kind of like a ritual sacrifice, which you definitely get those vibes. What I was very much reminded of, like in the first 60 seconds of it, it felt very Hunger Games to me.
Yeah.
It was basically just like survive. Like, Here you go, survive.
Good luck.
Yep.
Yeah. The part where she walks off to go to her box seats, they give you this shot of Vermithor like raising up a little bit taller and like really taking a good look at these people, and then he hits you with like an evil smile almost, like, oh shit, she's just gonna let me
eat these folks.
These are for me. So he just starts roasting people as Rhaenyra watches on. The survivors of the first dragon fire blast like start running for their lives. Ulf, gets knocked off of the dragon hanger bridge there by the tail or something. And Rhaenyra, they do give us a really good shot of her like soaking in what she is doing, sacrificing a few, a few dozen, to theoretically save many. Mm-hmm. Like in her mind, what she's having to sell herself on is like, well, we'll save thousands of lives. We're going to save thousands of lives. We're going to save thousands of lives. Like these people are going out for a good reason.
It certainly does kind of bring to light that line though, where she's like, where she says that there will be no more bloodshed essentially
after this bloodshed.
But real quick, just one more moment of lots of bloodshed.
Yeah, so Hugh escapes the initial barbecue and is running around the dragon hanger floor with a bunch of other morons who, for whatever reason, keep sprinting out right in front of Vermithor. Like, Hugh gets behind that rock with another one of his like distant relatives, the silver-haired lady, and we see just multiple people like, just running out and then getting roasted and eaten, or like one guy's already on fire and Vermithor's like, ooh, another tasty snack.
Yeah. Barbecue. This one's barbecued.
This was wild, though, yeah. I just couldn't get over how many people were like, I'll just run out in the open right here. This will be totally fine. Idiots. So I also was curious like how they got down there. Like they all run back on the bridge. Then were they like escorted down to the dragon hanger floor? Like get back out there.
I kind of feel like there's like a big curved kind of ramp staircase type thing.
Yeah. Well, they're all down there running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
Because the dragon trainers, they gotta get up to the bridge somehow.
That's true. Yeah. And they didn't
so
really
there's gotta
know where
be
they
a-
were going. These people haven't been there before. They don't know
Right.
the map. So when they're hiding behind the rock, they wait until they see like a window to try and run. Of course, once they do, Vermithor spots them pretty much immediately. And just as the great beast is about to roast this silver-haired lady, Hugh steps up and he does the Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park with the flare.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm over here. Here I am. I'm the one you want.
Right.
And saves her life. Goes face to face with Vermithor, says, I'm ready, as they kind of stare each other down, and then he bellows, come on! Which was like, that's a tough thing to do, to pull off on screen, to deliver a line like this, and you really feel it with this dude. You're like, oh, fuck yeah.
He's got a good look. He's got the right look.
That yell in Vermithor's face gets Vermithor to be like, whoa, nice.
Maybe I will bend neck.
All right. And then he bends some neck. And just like that, Hugh is a rider, folks. So I love this for Hugh. And this was, yes, it was kind of, telegraphed. Yeah. We knew Hugh and Ulf were going to come matter in some way, and it became a little bit easier and easier to figure out, like, okay, they're probably going to be dragon riders.
Once they put all of these people together in the same room and we only know two of them,
then it's really obvious.
Yes, it's pretty obvious. I did think that with Ulf, I was unsure. I thought they might do a 1-in-1.
Hit us with a pump fake.
Hugh was the real Targaryen. Ulf, not so much. He's just been telling these.
Maybe he was full of shit.
Maybe he was full of shit, telling these bar stories. But when it did not go that way, it's not surprising because we've been hanging out with these two.
Talking about this for weeks.
These two dudes for weeks, yeah.
But I loved the way this came to fruition. It was a very cool thing. So after getting knocked off the bridge, Ulf finds a torch, almost lights his hair on fire with that torch by accident. He runs off. I think he thinks he's escaping. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Totally.
Unfortunately, he stumbles directly into Silverwing's cave, then steps on what I think is a clutch of her eggs.
Yes,
because she's a she-dragon.
They're buried in the fire.
They've got like a protective layer, and he breaks through it accidentally.
The crust, yeah.
So she knocks him over with her nose, like, what the hell, man? What are you doing in here? And Ulf just lays back and accepts his fate, thinking like, surely he's a dead man. He's just like, I'm so fucking tired. I've had enough. Silverwing smells him, though, and apparently likes what she picks up. Because she, too, bends neck. Ulf is relieved. Ulf is a rider. And there we have it. There's our two winners right there.
Yeah.
Two winning contestants.
Yeah, so we had surmised last week that maybe that this we didn't foresee it going so lopsided, and that maybe the Green Targaryens got wind of this dragon trial thing and they try to pull their own off.
Right.
And Ulf and Hugh end up on that side, but no, here we go. Ulf and Hugh, members of Team Black. And
we did it.
On top of Silverwing and Vermithor.
Dragon Rider Tryouts 2.0.
Yeah.
Great success.
The one we were waiting for.
Yes. And look, if you're like, what the hell? They sacrificed so many, there was so much death here. All these poor peasants died. Like, if somebody has to ride those dragons. We do, that's the position we are in, as Rhaenyra has made quite clear. And if you want to make an omelet, you have to break some eggs. And these were the eggs.
And there's also no question that you're supposed to be I think we're still supporting Rhaenyra. We are mostly still Team Black. But yeah, this is not like the greatest thing to watch her do, you know?
No, it's kind of fucked up.
It's kind of fucked up.
Especially not knowing what's the next step. Now we've got a whole bunch of dragons. Great. You still don't have an army. Are you just going to send all the dragons to start flaming people until the other side breaks? Or what's the next move? They don't outline that for us here.
Yeah, and I just to one more thing, it's really like it's kind of the methodology, right? Because to give these people a one-time shot like she did with Darklyn is a little bit like allowing them to choose the fate. But we get that scene where she walks through and is going up to the sky deck, and all of her guards there are like kind of not letting these people run away.
Yeah, they can't leave.
They can't leave. So it's a little bit.
A bunch of her guards get roasted too.
Yeah, they do. They do. So just the whole methodology of how is allowing this to unfold is pretty callous, but it's what she believes she has to do.
I mean, and it's kind of an age-old message too. No one in power gets there without having blood on their hands.
Yeah, right.
It is not done throughout human history. There is always blood and fire in this case as well. It also makes it a little bit dirtier that when she's giving him the pregame speech, she's like, and some of you may actually prefer death to going back to your shitty ass life with famine and starvation and war and deprivation. Like that, she lays out every angle, right? And then to your point, didn't feel like there was a real choice. Like she didn't,
once they were in there,
didn't give him the one last shot. Like anybody who still wants to leave, you can go now. And then once she's leaving the dragon hangar, there are guards keeping everyone else in.
Yeah.
So back on King's Landing, Aemond meets with Larys and the rando douche on the small council. Aemond is informed that Lord Ormond Hightower is being threatened now on 2 fronts by armies allied with House Beesbury. But hey, there's good news too. Prince Darren's dragon has at last taken to wing, which I spoiled last week, and is expected to join the fight soon, so the Hightower host will soon be unstoppable, which, because we just watched what we just watched, is a stupid line that's very funny.
I still feel like Darren is going to play a major role, if not next episode, then next season. Feels like that's because, right, as we're thinking about how now the Blacks are on top, they've got the numbers, they've got the power. How are the
way
Greens,
more dragons?
How are the Greens going to level it? Like, it seems like Darren will absolutely be a major factor in that, but who knows?
Yeah. So as they're talking here at the small council table, we hear someone outside yelling, "Dragon! Dragon! Inside now!" And Aemond almost has like an annoyed look on his face, like, you gotta be kidding me. What do I have to go deal with? So he goes outside to the balcony, sees Silverwing approaching King's Landing, and we get to watch. Like, Ulf's crazy drunk ass does a full lap around King's Landing and kind of draws Aemond out. Aemond rides his horse to get old lady Vhagar, who is sleeping in the woods, then flies off to meet Ulf and Silverwing. And we get this shot of Vhagar is just Godzilla with wings attached.
Yeah, she is a saggy girl.
Huge.
You know, it's really a wonderful visual, though, because it really lets you know how old and ancient she is, because
it's a grandma dragon.
This is a grandma dragon.
An enormous Godzilla grandma dragon.
Yes.
And Silverwing ends up leading Vhagar right to Dragonstone, which it turns out is not that far away. I mean, surely we didn't have to watch the entire flight, but you know.
But we know that the Dragonstone is not. It can't be that far from King's Landing, because they keep crossing the Black Bay, Blackwater.
You're right.
To do all these missions,
smuggling out the bastards, sending over the food. Yeah, it's kind of it's like a 30-minute dragon flight. It's right there. quick hop across the pond.
Yeah.
But realizing this is not a wise time to attack Dragonstone solo, Aemond is like, no. And he really has to, because you think, oh shit, she's not going to listen to him again. Vhagar is just going to keep going, and this is going to be a full-blown dragon battle to end this episode.
Yeah.
But he has to be really insistent and then really pull on that saddle to get the old girl to turn back.
Yeah.
Which is a scary moment for Aemond and Vhagar, because it's like, what the hell?
Free Vhagar.
Yeah. Rhaenyra walks
he says
out.
It in High Valyrian, but that's what the sub
sounded like that though.
It does. Yeah.
Rhaenyra walks out and sees Vhagar turning back to King's Landing, as behind her all the dragons roar as one, calling Vhagar racial slurs.
Do you think that he saw the other dragons? Because why does he?
I think he knows the dragon he is following is not one of the ones that they previously had a rider for, and he doesn't know what he's flying into.
Okay.
That there are at least 2 other dragons over there with riders, most likely. So you're talking about like a 3-on-1 that he'd be flying into at best. So he's just like, this is not it. I can't. This is not the time.
We get Silverwing flying over. I think for me at first I was like, oh shit, what is Ulf doing? Has he gone rogue? Was he able to sneak Silverwing out? Right?
Is he going over to the green side?
Going over to the green side.
So that was my first thought. This scene caused a lot of confusion for a lot of people for multiple reasons. This is one of them.
But then as he does turn, as he banks and heads back towards Dragonstone and Vhagar follows, you're like, oh, this is a plan. This is bait.
See, there's the other part that's confusing. You read it as Ulf was sent to fly over King's Landing and draw Aemond out.
Yes.
And fly back to Dragonstone to see if he would come.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what happened.
Okay.
Although that is obviously one of the very popular takeaways from the scene. Here's why. My read is that Silverwing bent neck, Ulf hopped on. They went for their first joyride together, and Silverwing was basically like, you know what? Let's do a lap around King's Landing to show these losers that Team Black is making major moves. Okay. Because if you otherwise, the only option is to say this is a little time jump. Rhaenyra has had time to train up Ulf on dragon riding. Ulf is now an experienced dragon rider of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And they have said, all right, we just got this new guy, Ulf. He's got Silverwing. We're going to send him over enemy territory where they have scorpions and a massive dragon, risk this whole fucking accomplishment we just pulled off. So I don't believe that's what happened because that's too insane. He's over the middle of the city, dude. He is out there. Very
exposed.
at risk.
It's very exposed.
Very at risk.
They're loading up the scorpions as he flies. I was very concerned.
Shocked they didn't blow him out of the sky. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
So I think this was more of an accidental situation.
Okay, an accidental bait.
Yes. It played out that way.
Yeah.
But in the end, I don't think this was a planned Ulf as bait thing that got executed here.
Okay. I still feel like Aemond on Vhagar must see or recognize the rising dragon army as all three, or as three more
out
dragons kind of climb up the cliffs and drop the mean mug and the mean roar.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's very possible he's just straight up saw, oh fuck, there are 3 more over there plus the one that I'm chasing back.
Yeah.
Nope, got to turn around. He knows, powerful as Vhagar is, she can be killed.
Yes.
A 4-on-1 is not a good fight for the old gal. So, yeah, I mean, I had back and forth with a couple different text groups this morning. People were like, so Ulf was just bait. And I was like, I don't think so. That would be dumb of them.
I like your explanation of more essentially like accidental bait. He jumps on, they immediately go for an ill-advised joyride.
Yes.
Because they potentially have also lost the element of surprise here.
Right. Now they're going to know for certain
that they have got suddenly a bunch more dragons. Yeah.
Right. This isn't even Seasmoke. This is Silverwing. Right. And I've already got rumors about Seasmoke having a new rider. Plus that, yes. Really makes you wonder what Team Green is going to have cooking in the finale.
Yeah.
Knowing that they are down numbers-wise, and they got to do something because this could get really fiery really fast.
Super 16 at the end.
Oh, so powerful.
Awesome and powerful visual.
Emotional stuff.
Rhaenyra, just with that look on her face, just, feeling on top of the world for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
With all those dragons that are back. Very reminiscent of Daenerys coming out of the fire with the 3 dragons on her.
Indeed. Still feels a little problematic that Ulf was just flying over King's Landing all willy-nilly without any understanding for what he was doing or how to get Silverwing to stop.
He's just a natural. Turns out he's got the gift.
He's a wild boy up there. Yeah.
But yeah, what an awesome ending. And the fortune favors the bold, Ross.
The penultimate episode was popping. This was really good stuff. I had a blast watching it. Like I said, front to back, keeps you locked in. And to end with as powerful of a moment as it did without any real fireworks in that moment, in terms of more blood being shed or some big battle or fight or whatever. I thought it was a worthy penultimate episode for what has been a great season so far and gives us a nice setup for the finale to still have a hell of a lot unfold over another hour. Because this is three episodes in a row now. We've gone over an hour long in the, coming up to 70 minutes almost. And we know next week is going to be another one with the finale. So, uno más. How many people do you think die next week? Main characters.
Vhagar,
how many?
No.
Flee, Vhagar.
Dracarys.
How many main characters do you think we lose next week? Because there's got to be. I would put the over under around 2.5 again. I keep choosing that as my over under.
Absolutely no.
Really?
I'm not getting the. I'm not.
You're not going to get dramatic with it.
I'm not. I'm just not sensing the vibes.
Okay.
It's really hard to say.
You think Kristen Cole's making it to season 3?
I kind of do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
And it'd be really Gwen. Has Gwen gotten to do enough to bring Freddie Fox in?
Nah, you can't kill him.
No. By the way, I'm now 3. I also over the weekend I'm 3 episodes in on Slow Horses season 1.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm all caught up.
So shouts to both Olivia Cook and Freddie Fox.
Oh shit!
Who must have the same agent.
I totally forgot Olivia Cook is in there too.
Yeah.
But yes, Freddie Fox is also in Slow Horses, another Apple TV show that's solid, very solid.
Yeah, very solid.
Very solid stuff.
You know, I got to have my Spy Crash fix, so it's scratching that itch.
Provides that, yes.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think of who could go. Like maybe so if we get like a big death, if we get a surprising one, if we get any Damon, Aemond, Aegon, Alicent, like Jace, Rhaenyra, Baela, like any of those like major players, I feel like it's only one.
Yeah, and you got to feel like Rhaenyra and Daemon are safe.
I'd throw Kristen in that mix too.
Jace, she can't lose another kid, Rhaenyra. That just not this season, I don't think.
Probably not this season. Yeah.
I feel like Jace is safe, albeit classist. And I mean, it's a good point. I have absolutely no clue what's going to go down. I feel like we're going to get a major death next week. I just have that sense for some reason.
Yeah.
My vibes are the opposite of yours. I'm thinking multiple people are going to die that we care about on some level. But yeah. I'm already getting sad though, because it's like, is it going to be another 2 years before season 3? Like, have they even started filming yet? I don't think they have.
It's going to be a huge bummer if they wait another 2 years.
I can't do that again. It hurts too much.
I will say this though. Are we positive this show is going more than 3 seasons?
No.
Okay.
No, we have absolutely no reason to believe that. They got renewed for 2 and 3. That was it.
Okay. So I wonder if it's a 3-season show. It feels like it could be right now.
We kind of always guessed 3 or 4.
Right.
That was what it felt like.
Yeah.
Look, they're going off one book that's largely written as a history book with very little detail in it.
Yeah.
We've also talked about how they could certainly stretch it a little longer, maybe another season, right? But you have to be careful with that because you don't want to end up in a situation like it seems The Bear just did, where they're given the budget for an extra season, but the writers and the showrunner don't want to blow their load that they have for the big season, so they kind of make up a middle ground season with what can feel like a lot of filler.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. So it depends.
Yeah. I'm sure if it is going to be the final season, they will announce that at some point in the development and as they start filming.
100%.
It'll be interesting to see.
It is a good question. And I'm guessing part of the reason that we haven't heard anything about production yet is that they are seeing how the numbers end up for season 2 before they make maybe the final decision on what to do with season 3.
Yeah.
It's possible too.
But I raised that question because it just doesn't feel like we have a ton of runway left. We're talking about major characters potentially dying next episode, and it's like there just aren't that many of them to lose.
Yeah, I mean, also the thing I'm thinking about for the short term is like
somebody's got to sit the throne.
You can't do this huge buildup for Hugh and Ulf
and then
have them die before the season is out.
Right.
The next episode, that's literally impossible. That is not going to happen. So
I could see one of them dying next week.
Next week?
Yeah,
that was just so much to get them on these things.
I totally agree. It'd be a lot of build up to then have them last 60 minutes on a dragon.
Yeah, that can't. I can't see it happening. Which means you're carrying them into season 3. Which means that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In some ways, it does feel like we have a lot of runway left. Where I'm like, I don't know. We've got generations still. Rhaena hasn't even hopped on a dragon yet. You've also got Baela. You've got Jace. We're bringing some dude named Darren over from Old Town probably in season 3, right? There's a lot of characters, dude. And with the introduction of a bunch of new characters like we literally just experienced, that's when I feel like the old characters we've been dealing with are most at risk.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, shit. I could be totally wrong, though. We'll wait and see.
We'll see.
But this was a fun one, folks. I had a great time watching this penultimate episode. And remember, if you want to hear Barrett and I discuss it further, we will be doing so on our ad-free episode released later this week exclusively on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles, where we dive deeper into the penultimate episode of House of the Dragon Season 2, driven by hotline calls from our listeners in the Mollusk Militia tier on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles. Subscribe on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles now and enjoy a 7-day free trial so you can see how awesome these episodes are. We've got 6 of them out already for the first 6 episodes of season 2 that you can enjoy literally right after you finish listening to today's show. If you just go to patreon.com/oystersclamscockles and sign up for that 7-day free trial. And then, of course, you'll get our penultimate bonus coverage with hotline calls later this week and then the finale next week as well. And as Barrett mentioned at the top of the show, the journey does not stop here for the Clam fam. We will be watching other shows and enjoying other content together after House of the Dragon Season 2 ends, between Seasons 2 and 3.
Huzzah.
We are a year-round podcast, baby. We do not stop bringing you the best TV and film talk in all of the podcast land. Please support our sponsors all season long by using the URLs and codes provided in the description of each episode. That is another way we stay in business. Check out our other shows here at Bolin Media, including my personal podcast, the Ross Bolin Podcast. If you are an F1 fan, check out Bolin Media's premier F1 programming, Formula Bone, at youtube.com/@FormulaBone, @FormulaBone on all the social media platforms. And you can also listen on the podcast platforms where every week Jared J-Bone Borislow brings you the latest and greatest and most dramatic in the world of F1. What else? Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at WRBolin. Follow Mr. Dudley where?
At Barrett Dudley, X, and Instagram.
And remember to follow the show as well. Just search Oysters, Clams, and Cockles on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Go to bolinmedia.com/shop to grab yourself some merch. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We look forward to hearing everyone's reactions on Patreon and hearing from you on social media as well. Do not hesitate to holler at us. Until next time, Likiri.